Thank you guys for tuning in to the Bootz Sports Show. I'm your host, Uncle Bootz, and today, yes, I'm excited. We'll talk about why. First, I just want to give thanks to a couple people. My boy Mossberg, you can follow him, Dwayne Green, at Mossberg on Twitter, MOZZBURG. You can also follow me at Jerry_Holman, HOLEMAN on Twitter as well. This is a big day. Big day for me. Big day for Cowboy Nation. I don't know which side of the fence some of you fall on. I know where I stand. Most of you fans know that I'm a big Tony Romo supporter. So it is a big day for Tony Romo and his family. And I believe for the Dallas Cowboy contingent as well. Today, Jerry Jones and company extend Tony Romo by giving him his thanks Easter basket, which is $108 million, 52 of which is guaranteed money for 6 years contract extension. In doing so, it also gave us some cap relief of about $5 million, which as it stands right now is enough for us to sign our rookies. We are still working with Anthony Spencer, so we'll get into some of that a little bit later. Hopefully his contract extension will also give us some more relief so we can maybe bring in another player or two. I know there's been rumors about Brandon Moore, the guard from the Jets, who would be a starter, instant starter, would probably at the expense of our left guard, who pretty much had a pretty bad year, the one we picked up from the Cincinnati Bengals. He'd probably be gone, Nate Livings. So, but anyway, before we start speculating that, let's just talk about what this means for us fans. Now, I know Tony Romo's reputation in the league. If you're an avid sports fan, or you have a sports eye or scout, or even if you're a player, an opposing player, you know how good of a quarterback Tony Romo is. He's a very, very dynamic player. He can, make all the throws, and he also does things that not every single quarterback can do. He can turn the disastrous play into an awesome play. He can bring you back from late games. He's very smart. And listening to some of the opposing players on the other teams, they'll tell you that he's a tough out. He's a tough guy to beat. So all these people who talk negative about Tony, and don't get me wrong, Tony's had his hand in it too, but most of the people that talk negative about Tony, they don't understand what it takes to win or play in the National Football League, and they kind of look at it like it's a show of Housewives or one of these reality shows where all you do is sit back and judge the person and you really don't know what they've gone through or whatever. But Tony Romo has turned, in some of his instances, the Cowboys into a reality show, in a sense. But I remember, speaking of reality, I remember what it was like before Tony got here. Unlike some fans, some of the media pundits, I remember what it was like. I remember those days, and they weren't good. When we were hoping and praying that we could get a guy like Tony Banks in here, and that was our upside. And maybe we can sign him to the veteran minimum, get him in here, and hopefully he can take us to the playoffs. We see how that worked out. But this is it's a good thing for us Cowboy fans, so we don't have to worry about our franchise quarterback for the next few years. You guys know that I started the Homo for Romo fan club, so I live and die with Tony Romo. I know where this team would be or wouldn't be without Tony. I know exactly where we'd be, and we would be right there with the Arizona Cardinals, hoping and praying that a guy like Matt Barkley will be around, or a guy like Geno Smith would drop. We'd be in those sweepstakes, in that conglomerate with Philadelphia Eagles. We might be mainstays at the bottom of the NFL. We're not that. What Tony does is he keeps you with a chance every single year. No matter what you say, we're a game away from the division the last 2 years in a row. So the Cowboys aren't bottom feeders. They've been a game from winning the division. every single year. And that's all on the arm of Tony Romo. It's not on your running back. He hasn't ever rushed for 1,000 yards. Tony's never had a 1,000-yard rusher. It's not on your defense. Defense kind of been in that bottom quadrant over the last few years as to what type of defense we have. So we live or die with Tony. So I'm happy and excited that we have him in his prime years. And like I said, he gives us the best chance. Now, some of you guys might want Kyle Orton. Some of you guys might want to draft Matt Barkley. You know, some of you guys might want Geno Smith. You know, I could think of all quarterbacks in the draft this year. Tyler Wilson's, all these guys. You know, Ryan Nassib from Syracuse. You guys want to do that? That's fine. You're rolling the dice. And we're going to talk about what a crapshoot the NFL draft is as well. So, I'm excited. Like I said, I love Tony. I think he's awesome. I think he's a fun watch. Does he have some downs? Yes, he does. You know, I think he's a better quarterback than Flacco. I know Flacco won a Super Bowl this year and had awesome postseason success this year. One of the more remarkable postseason stories in the history of football. Now, of playoff football. Now, that's been Tony's, you know, Achilles heel is he hasn't had success in the postseason. So, but the one thing about Tony I will say for everybody that's judging him, and rightfully so, Tony's got a lot of money in the bank now. He can be judged, and he's had money even before this contract. He can be judged, and people can say whatever they want to say about him because Tony's paid a large amount of money, a king's ransom, if you will, to deal with the negative Nancys or the Debbie Downers, if you will. But I actually think that Tony will have the last say. You know, there's still ink in the pen. You know, Tony's writing his chapters. It's not like he's done. Tony's done. Tony still can finish the chapters of his story and can ride off into the sunset one day. He has the talent to do it. Anybody who tells you he doesn't have talent is just really, honestly, it's moronic fans. You know, so moving forward, we talk about the other side of it. I got some friends, you know, some guys that have talked negative about Tony, and some Cowboy fans that don't believe Tony is a good option. And I've seen posts on my Facebook that the next 6 years, Jerry Jones just, you know, pretty much just ruined the next 6 years of your life as a Cowboy fan. And for some of those fans that feel that way, the draft is a crapshoot. And for every RG3, Andrew Luck, Matt Ryan, Russell Wilson, there's a Jamarcus Russell, there's a Mark Sanchez, there's a JP Losman, there's a Tim Tebow. I mean, I could keep going. And that's why I laugh at you guys who want to just go shopping for a quarterback and cutting a guy who's going to be an all-time statistical leader. And I know some of you guys slight that because everybody can do that, you know. Everybody can be an all-time statistical leader. But you know what? They can't. And Tony gives you a chance. So when we talk about this crapshoot, and we're going to talk a lot about the draft over the next few weeks, or the next month or so, because I'm still compiling some data, watching film on some players. But it's hard. It's very hard to try to figure out why is the draft such a crapshoot, and how do I avoid the bad pick? And especially at the quarterback position, when we talk about this is why I'm ecstatic that we have Tony for at least, you know, we'll probably get 4, you know, prime years from Tony, hopefully barring injury and all that stuff. But why is the quarterback position so tough to you know, like for instance, I think, and I've never done the test of sizing up the ball, but I believe that the college ball is a little bit smaller than the pro ball, and some of these guys that are getting away with smaller hands in college get to the NFL and the ball's a little bit bigger and they have a hard time throwing the football. I never hear people talk about that. I haven't done a study on it, but that's what it looks like to me. I think that that's huge, and that's why some of these quarterbacks struggle. Now, you do have to have a brain. You do have to be, you know, a smart quarterback. You do have to have some athleticism. Even the slowest quarterbacks still have a very good footwork back there. When you watch a quarterback go into a 5, a 3, a 7-step drop, and then get back up when the pocket starts to collapse. If you watch even Peyton Manning's footwork, he's not known to be a runner, but when you watch how the pocket starts to collapse and his footwork, how he steps up and then delivers the football, it is the most amazing thing to see people do that. But anyway, quarterbacks do that. But we talk about that's part of the reason that there is a crapshoot is getting your hands on the football. Another problem when you start to scout some of these guys is production doesn't always equal production. Like Cliff Kingsbury was a very productive college quarterback. Timmy Chang, Hawaii, went to Hawaii, was a very productive quarterback. Dave Carr, Joey Harrington, Andre Ware. These guys were very, very productive. And you can do this formula at the wide receiver position, at the running back position. But these guys didn't necessarily turn into productive quarterbacks. And when does what you're watching on film deceive you? When you're watching somebody carve up a team, watching somebody carve up a good, defensive team, a nationally ranked team, when does your eyes deceive? When do your eyes deceive you? And that's what you have to question and ask yourself. What am I watching? Am I watching a good quarterback here? Am I watching this guy? He's making all the throws. Well, tell me why Joey Harrington didn't work out. There are a lot of quarterbacks that there were coaches that promised that Brett Ratliff, who started out at Florida, that he was going to be a good quarterback. He was going to be a prime quarterback coming out of school. A lot of quarterbacks that was promised to be better than they were, and all the intangibles and even the tangibles seemed like it would make them good quarterbacks, and they just weren't. So the moving ahead from the quarterback position, but my analysis on that is pretty much that I'm not ready to jump into that crapshoot yet. So some of you guys that are maybe even disappointed Tony Romo got re-signed, you let me know in the comment section. Let me know what route you would taken that you think would have been better than what I told you was going to happen all along. I've been following some of these guys. My boy Mosberg on Twitter, he's been telling people as well, Dwayne Green, what he thinks has been going on. We work very closely together with this. Some of my peers, and I know some of the guys out there. I got some smart friends, some smart followers. I follow them on Facebook. I mean, we're friends on Facebook. Tony Iosa, he's a guy who talks real well with the Cowboys. He's on Facebook. Some of these guys, they understand, and I like talking to my fans and my friends that understand the little intricacies of drafting, running a team. That it's not easy to just say, well, let me just sign E.J. Manuel and let's go. As much as I love E.J. Manuel as a future quarterback who's probably 2 years away from being a very, very, maybe 3 years away from being a very, very good quarterback in the league, you can't just jump into bed with that if your goals are to win now. You can't just do that. So, once again, the Cowboys did have some free agent signings. I'll briefly go over those real quick and let you know my thoughts on it. And I thought for a team that was cash strapped, that didn't have a lot of money, I thought the Cowboys did a really good job. The best free agent pickup this year was that Justin Durant pick. I thought that Kyle Wilber, when I watched him at Wake Forest, I felt like he could play that strong linebacker position in the 4-3. I felt like he could play that. I didn't know for sure. I still don't know for sure. I know that Justin Durant, and our linebackers are very interchangeable now with the signing of Justin Durant. Some of you guys aren't familiar with him. He was a linebacker, played a lot of middle linebacker, but he was a linebacker for the Detroit Lions mainly. Did start out with the Jaguars. Very, very. Let me tell you something. There's not going to be a linebacking core in the NFL that is going to, and I'm not saying that's everything, but they're not going to be able to say they got a faster linebacking core than the Dallas Cowboys. They're going to be a speed. I'm talking downhill. As long as they stay healthy, this linebacking core with Sean Lee, Bruce Carter, and now Justin Durant, who I think will easily win that Sam linebacker position. And they'll alternate. They'll get Wilbur acclimated because Justin Durant only signed a 2-year deal. So it was only $250,000 signing bonus. So it's not going to, if for some reason Kyle Wilbur, who I think will be a future projection at the Sam linebacker, in the event that he does win it next year or even this year, it's not going to cost them but $250,000 per year if they decide, and I think Justin Durant, if he doesn't win the job, which I think he will, I think he can play some special teams and help out too. So, as well as Kyle Wilbur. So you're going to see a very fast linebacking core this year. So those running quarterbacks that we're seeing in the NFC and sprinkled throughout the league, we're going to have a better handle on it. I mean, you're not going to see Brady Papinga out there, jogging around trying to chase these guys around. You're going to see some pretty good quarterbacks. So Justin Durant is an awesome pickup. Tackling machine. Also, we did lose Gerald Sensabaugh. And I was a little, I don't want to say upset, because Gerald Sensabaugh gave you a professional outing every time out there. Was he going to get beat deep? No, he was athletic, very athletic kid. A kid who jumped 47 inches at the combine when he came out of North Carolina. Set the combine record for vertical leap, by the way, for 47 inches. Very athletic kid, rangy, but just wasn't needed. I don't think. I don't remember Kiffin going out and having early draft picks at safety, and I don't think you need that. I think Matt Johnson is going to surprise a lot of people. I know it's a tough name to say, but I think he's going to be a good player. The kid Will Allen we picked up from who played with the Steelers, and I'm not going to say I know a whole lot about him, but I believe he played with Tampa under Kiffin. Apparently, people think highly of him enough that if we didn't get a safety in the first round, this kid could come in and contribute. I think Matt Johnson's going to probably get that spot locked up. Him and Barry Church, I think, are going to be outstanding if they can stay on the field. And that's a big if. And it's putting the cart before the horse, because no one here has seen Matt Johnson. I've seen about a 12-minute tape of him on YouTube. That's all that I've ever seen of him. There's not a lot of, what was it, Washington State or whatever it was, Eastern Washington. There's not a lot of film on the kid, but he plays downhill and he's rangy. So I think with that kid, with the free agents that we brought in, just those free agents, we're working on Anthony Spencer, negotiating with him, probably get some more cap relief once he's done. And I think he's, like I told all of you, if you saw me on the ranch or the scout.com, I go under the handle. I've been a member for years. 92 Dover Tiger 112. I've been telling you guys, got people arguing with me, telling me how bad Anthony Spencer was, how Cliff Averill was so much of a better player. I mean, I can go on about the post. A lot of them I've even printed out, but I don't want to pull people's names out on here. But tell me how bad Anthony Spencer was. We could probably get a bag of peanuts. I've seen Anthony Spencer, one of the best defensive players in football. So, and he's going to be paid. He's going to be paid well. So, and hopefully he will get some cap relief from him and be able to sign maybe the offensive lineman from the Jets I was telling you about earlier, Brandon Moore. So what these signings have done for us, though, like last year, we did some things, bringing in some guys so we don't have to reach in the draft and we have to take a safety. Everybody wants us to take Kenny Vaccaro. Now, I was dogging it. My last interview, my last show I did, episode, I was dogging the Cowboy fan, the Cowboy media, for saying we were going to be interested in Kenny Vaccaro as early as the 18th pick. And my reason was because we had Gerald Sensabaugh here. Now that Sensabaugh's gone, if they took a guy like Elam, if they took a kid like Cyprian, if they took a kid, like Vaccaro, I don't think it's needed, but I wouldn't kill the Cowboys for doing it because we don't have Sensabaugh here. So these free agents are going to allow us to go into the draft and not have to reach for a player. So if a guy, and I'm a big Tavon Austin fan, and I know you guys are probably cringing right now saying, wow, this guy's crazy thinking we're going to take a wide receiver. My theory is this. If you're going to tell me Miles Austin's going to play every game and not hold the back of his leg after running a route, like his hamstring, this kid Tavon Austin from West Virginia, go look at some tape on this kid. A dynamic game changer. And that's what the draft is about. The draft is about drafting dynamic game changers. My one buddy emailed me, Elijah Harris, about the Honey Badger. He feels like if that kid's there in the first round, grab him. That's the type of player he is. He doesn't care about the baggage. He believes he's a dynamic game changer. Well, let me tell you something. This kid, Tavon Austin, #1 from West Virginia, he is the most dynamic player I've seen in the draft with the ball in his hands. Since I can't think of anybody else. Since I've been watching football and understanding X's and O's, I've never seen anybody would do what this kid's done. So if a kid like that happens to be there at 18 and the Cowboys select him, don't think for 1 minute that I'm going to get on here and flame this board saying, what about our defense? What about our offensive line? That's the type of player he is, because he stretches the field and makes plays. But anyway, like I'm saying, you guys get me all excited. I'm trying to save some of my draft thoughts. I'm watching the running back from Michigan State, Le'Veon Bell, and I'm saying, oh my God, I'm falling in love with these backs. I'm falling in love with the kid, Mike Gillislee from Florida. So I'm watching these guys. These are names that not a lot of people are talking about. So I know I'm doing some homework. But I promise you, when I give you my 6th-round mock draft, it's going to be legit. It's going to be a legit, thorough draft. But Cowboys are doing a good job, once again, signing some of these free agents so they can give them draft flexibility so they can take the best player available if a guy falls to them at a position that would just instantly make us a better team. Once again, guys, have a happy Easter. And I'm still putting some stuff together. I'll be doing some more shows talking about it. I'm just excited about Tony Romo not having to worry about, think about it. Would you rather be the Arizona Cardinals right now with a high draft pick? Would you rather be the Buffalo Bills right now with a high draft pick, thinking about getting Geno Smith, not knowing where you're not knowing who's going to be on your roster, who's going to start your opening season? I don't care. Would you rather be the Cleveland Browns? Huh? You want a little Brandon Whedon sitting there pouting because he's not sure what his future? I mean, guys, there's some bad. Listen, New York Jets. You want some of that? You want some of that Sanchez Tebow action? Find out what that looks like. See what that would look like in Dallas. You think the media's tough now? What would that look? What would that have looked like in the Dallas media? Jerry Jones, had he brought in Tim Tebow and we had Mark Sanchez sitting here with that going on. How would that look? Been pretty bad, right? And look, they're no closer to a. They're not. You want to talk about a team who fell off the map? And I don't mean to turn this into Jets, but I gotta do a little Jets talk here. You want to talk about a team who fell off the map faster than anything? The coach, the general manager, the quarterback. I mean, he was the face of the franchise. You guys running around calling him Dirty Sanchez, all that stuff you guys doing. That was cute. That was all cute. Well, look, it ain't cute anymore. And guess what? Tebow, that was a nice little press conference he had. I'm a big Tebow supporter. I like the energy he brings. I like the character that he brings in a league sometimes where it's tough to find guys that you want to model. Other players can model their kids or fans. When people talk about role models, etc. That's a good kid. That's a good kid. Kid says and does all the right things. But let me tell you something. Keep it away from Dallas. You want to switch places with the Jets right now? So Cowboys, we're still on the up. Remember, fans, we're a game away from winning the division 2 years in a row. So anybody who thinks that we are falling off the face, we got some young good players coming in. Now, I know I was going to close this up, and I promised y'all I wouldn't keep y'all long because I know y'all got your Easter eggs to die and all that stuff like that. I hear you. I got to jump on Skip Bayless and this Stephen A. Smith thing real quick. I don't appreciate it when nobody likes when things get taken out of context. I don't think anybody likes to be a victim of that. You know what I mean? And poor Dez Bryant, and I'm gonna say poor because for one time, Dez said all the right things, and the media and Skip Bayless and Stephen A. Smith didn't hear the interview. They just got asked a question about him saying he's gonna catch for 2,000 yards, and they said Dez was a selfish player. He needs to shut up. He needs to focus on winning. Dez was asked a question, does he think 2,000 yards is attainable? And all Dez says is he has potential to do that, but first and foremost, he wants to win. He wants to win games. He wants to win playoff games. He wants to do whatever it takes to do to be a good football player. He wants to be a leader. He wants to be a demonstrative player for the Cowboys. Now, Skip Bayless and these bums over at ESPN, they do what they do best. They take words out of context, turn this guy into a villain, who, by the way, yeah, he's had some issues, but he's doing things now positively. The domestic violence campaign he's a part of, he's doing the right things. I mean, listen, we make mistakes in life. I have. We all have, and that might be another show we might do later on if we want to keep it real, because I try to keep it real with y'all. Y'all know that. I'm not perfect. Y'all not perfect either. But this kid is a young kid making mistakes in life and trying to get his life together. He's doing all the right things. And I'm going to tell you something. If you watched his last 8 games of the season, you would have said the same thing. He struggled in his first 8 games because he didn't know what the hell he was doing. But guess what? He got his head on now. And him and Tony together, that's going to be something to see, man. Something to see. So you fans, go ahead and enjoy your Easter. Romo and your family, congrats. The little kid growing up, I mean, he's got it made. These guys, let me tell you something. Romo was a guy that nobody thought would even be a quality football player. And for you to, make, close to $200 million or whatever you're going to make it when it's all said and done with endorsements, that's amazing. That's awesome. That's an amazing accomplishment. It's your hard work. And you dealt with these ruckus fans and these ruckus media pundits. So God bless you. Thank you once again for listening. Guys, please give me a thumbs up, especially if you like what I'm saying. Just give me a thumbs up. And also subscribe to my page. If you got YouTube pages out there, subscribe to me. Guys, I'm going to be uploading this all night. And once again, thanks for giving me your time, man. Happy Easter. Go Romo. How about them Cowboys?